I watched It Ends With Us, so you don't have to. 2024 has already had its fair share of blockbuster hits, with films like Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Twisters bringing in huge box office returns, and it looks like It Ends With Us might be following in their profitable footsteps. Based on the 2016 book by Colleen Hoover, It Ends With Us has quickly become the talk of the town, and not for good reasons. Apart from the source material drawing criticism for its depiction of an incredibly serious topic, the film's press tour has also raised eyebrows thanks to its ill-conceived marketing strategy and rumors of falling outs among the cast. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on It Ends With Us, from the success of the book, the shortcomings of the film adaptation, and even the behind-the-scenes drama. Obviously, there will be spoilers, so keep that in mind before you keep watching. And for anyone unfamiliar with the story, there will be discussions of domestic violence and physical abuse, so continue with caution. Now let's get into it. Colleen Hoover first rose to prominence in 2012 following the publication of her debut YA novel, Slammed, which was followed by several successful releases in subsequent years. While all of her books sold well, she experienced a surge in popularity in 2021 thanks to Book Talk, a literature-focused subsection of TikTok. Book Talk has had a notable impact on the publishing industry in recent years, with popular books in the community like A Court of Thorn and Roses, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and The Song of Achilles becoming bestsellers. Many of Hoover's novels have gone viral on the platform, like Verity and It Ends With Us, with the latter becoming the best-selling book of 2023, outselling even the Bible. Like many others, I fell prey to the Book Talk algorithm and wound up reading It Ends With Us, which I quickly regretted. Apart from Hoover's writing style just not being my cup of tea, I was really uncomfortable with the story itself, not because of the inclusion of domestic violence, but because of Hoover's depiction of it. In the novel, the main character, Lily Blossom Bloom, yes, that's her real name, starts a hot and heavy flirtation with Ryle Kincaid, a neurosurgeon. Eventually the two marry, and their relationship seems to be picture perfect, until Lily's first love, Atlas Corrigan, comes back into her life. One evening after burning his hand, Ryle hits Lily, whose own father was abusive to her mother, but she persuades herself that it was just an accident. As Ryle becomes more insecure about Atlas's presence in Lily's life, he begins falling apart at the seams, eventually culminating in him attempting to sexually assault Lily. After this, she leaves him, but soon discovers that she's pregnant with his child. Although she keeps her distance, she debates whether or not she should give their relationship another chance, but after giving birth to their daughter, she makes the decision to divorce him, finally ending the cycle of abuse that began with her mother. Before pivoting to writing, Hoover was a social worker, and many of her novels have referenced the difficult challenges she came across in that line of work, like domestic violence, drug abuse, mental illness, homelessness, and poverty. While you would think that this experience would make her more adept at talking about these serious issues with sensitivity and awareness, I've actually found it to be the opposite. In many of her novels, abusive behavior is not only excused, but at times even treated positively. It Ends With Us is no exception, with Hoover saying in 2018, "I like to play devil's advocate when I write. I enjoy telling stories in a way that takes a difficult subject and presents it in a different light. In one of my books, I write a student-teacher romance that the reader roots for. With this one, I was approaching a very touchy subject from an angle that isn't taken a lot." In many of her books, Hoover frames toxic relationships as learning experiences, having the male characters change for the better only after hurting the person they supposedly love. Her most wicked characters are often depicted as suave, sexy, and incredible in bed, which has unsurprisingly created a mixed message, resulting in many readers shipping the female protagonists with their abusers. With a fan base made up of young women, I personally think that she needs to be more mindful about the impact her stories might have on impressionable readers. Although, based on this 2021 interview, I don't think she cares. Quote, "I always say I write to entertain. I don't write to inform or to educate." Hoover's casual attitude towards such a serious subject is probably best exemplified by her 2023 attempt to publish a coloring book based on It Ends With Us. Although the concept was quickly shelved following backlash, it doesn't change the fact that she saw no issue with it, even though it should have been obvious. Given my concerns with the book and its creator, I had pretty low expectations for the movie, and while it wasn't the dumpster fire that I feared, it still fell short in many areas. Like most book-to-film adaptations, there are a good deal of differences between the original story and what ended up on screen. Some of these changes worked in the film's favor, others not so much. One notable improvement was the ending. In the novel, Lily forgives Ryle and co-parents with him, setting up the events of the 2022 sequel, but in the film, Lily raises her daughter on her own. According to Justin Baldoni, both he and No More, a domestic violence organization that consulted on the film, felt that the original ending didn't accurately reflect the realities of abuse. Quote, "The truth is, from our research, we know that the majority of men go back to being abusers, and that's the fact. It didn't feel right to tell a story about a man who was a minority in that, because that wouldn't be honoring the original intention of why we were trying to tell the story." Another significant change was the portrayal of Ryle's violence and Lily's response to it. In the novel, Ryle first hits Lily after she laughs at him for burning his hand, making it obvious that it was no accident, although Lily convinces herself otherwise. In the film, it's more ambiguous, initially looking like he was reacting from the pain, making Lily's insistence that it was an accident more believable. Baldoni frames Lily as an unreliable narrator early on in the film, which we see in how she remembers the attacks, only fully understanding what happened when she finally leaves. Lily is unironically obsessed with Ellen DeGeneres. Yes, that Ellen DeGeneres, who she treats as a sort of imaginary friend that she writes diary entries to. The film thankfully removes these numerous Ellen references, making them more of an Easter egg for eagle-eyed viewers. When the book was released back in 2016, Ellen DeGeneres was still a fairly beloved figure, but in more recent years, things have changed. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot less Ellen in It Ends With Us.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited.
Some of the film's changes were less successful, and in its attempt to show Lily as an independent and strong girl boss, the third act feels rushed and the character lacking in development. In the book, there's this sense of tension as we wonder whether or not Lily will take Ryle back, but the film skips over this inner conflict, fast-forwarding through her pregnancy so we only see the two together once, leaving the audience with little doubt about Lily's final decision. Like the novel it's based on, the film struggles with a mixed message. On one hand, it wants to explore the difficulties of being in an abusive relationship, but at the same time, it can't help but romanticize it. One of my biggest issues with the film was actually the casting of Blake Lively as Lily Bloom, which does more harm than good. In the novel, the character is only 23, a crucial detail that emphasizes the power imbalance between her and Ryle, who is older, wealthier, and more sexually experienced. Because of her naivete, Ryle's early problematic behavior, like dragging her out of a party or coming to her home unannounced, is misinterpreted as romantic instead of a red flag. Although they don't spell out the character's age in the film, with Blake Lively being nearly 37, we can assume that Lily is meant to be a similar age. Now, obviously, abusive relationships aren't exclusive to 23-year-olds, so I think making her older isn't automatically a problem. But Lively plays the character like someone else entirely, making Lily sassy, self-assured, and sexually experienced, changing the nature of her relationship with Ryle. Additionally, in the novel, it's been less than a decade since Lily and Atlas last saw each other, but in the film, it's like 20 years later, so the two of them still having feelings for each other after that long is at best unrealistic and at worst creepy. I think it's pretty obvious that Lively's star power, as well as her producer role, was the main motivation behind this casting decision. And although Isabella Ferrer was excellent as the teenage version of Lily, I think they should have just cast someone who could believably be in high school and freshly out of college.
I play young Lily Bloom.
Younger
Bloom.
Because of the film's subject matter, I won't be discussing the costume design in as much detail as I usually do. And the only reason I'm mentioning it at all is because Blake Lively kept going on and on about it in interviews. Although Eric Damon of Gossip Girl fame is credited as the costume designer, Lively had a big hand in the character's look. In the novel, Lily is established as having unusual aesthetic preferences, hence the entire concept of her flower shop. So I think having fun with her outfits is totally valid, even if they're hideous. The problem is that they completely ignored every other aspect of her personality, opting for shock and awe instead of proper character development. Lively has said that many of Lily's pieces come from her own wardrobe or the wardrobe of her friends, like model Gigi Hadid. A reminder, Lily is supposed to be an average girl living in Boston. She's not Serena van der Woodsen, so she shouldn't be running around in Louboutins and Yves Saint Laurent.
Those are my boots.
Those boots are so good.
Those are my real life boots. A lot of it's my real life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes.
Additionally, with all of this disposable income, we lose the implication that it isn't just the emotional aspects of her relationship that make her nervous about leaving Ryle, but also the financial security that comes with it, which is a very real struggle that many victims deal with. It wasn't just the costuming that Lively became involved with, as she also had a hand in rewrites, editing, and marketing, something which may have contributed to the drama that we're starting to see play out during the promotional tour.
It's my job to try to figure out how to get everybody on board to have the shared vision of what we're gonna make.
Like Lively, Justin Baldoni wore multiple hats on the set of It Ends With Us, serving as director, actor, and one of the producers, which might have led to the two butting heads over the course of filming. This might have been further exacerbated during the press tour, and on red carpets and in interviews, Baldoni has been noticeably isolated from the rest of the cast, to the extent that actors who were on screen for less than 10 minutes are being included while he's not. In recent years, celebrities have taken to method dressing while on their promotional tours, wearing different outfits inspired by their character or the general aesthetic of the project, as seen with Margot Robbie for Barbie, Jenna Ortega for Wednesday, Halle Bailey for The Little Mermaid, and Zendaya for practically any movie that she's been in. For It Ends With Us, Blake Lively has taken to wearing floral ensembles inspired by her character. Now, it's not the first time that Lively has taken to method dressing, as seen with 2018's A Simple Favor, but her insistence on turning every It Ends With Us event into a fashion show comes across as pretty tone-deaf, especially since she rarely takes the time to discuss the importance of the story that they're trying to tell. Instead, she's just talking about Taylor Swift or Britney Spears.
Reputation, just reputation. That's what I listen to. Every character's playlist is Reputation. True or false? You just went to second base with my dog.
True or false? It's my dog now, babe.
I don't know. This Britney has just meant so much to me forever. I'm a forever Britney stan.
Yeah, that album to me really captures all of her different eras.
Now, I'm not saying that everything about this movie needs to be all doom and gloom, but maybe this isn't the best time for Blake Lively to be twirling around in sparkly dresses and promoting her hair care line. Maybe Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman don't need to be crashing red carpets and interviews. Maybe reporters should be talking less about Ryle's abs and Lily's boots.
It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
This irreverent marketing approach seems to be an attempt to recreate the viral success of last year's Barbenheimer. However, what works for a film like Barbie falls flat when applied to a story as serious as It Ends With Us. This isn't a movie about a fashionable florist. It's about a woman escaping an abusive relationship. What are your thoughts on It Ends With Us? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!